9 everyday items that were worth a fortune in the Old West. Think for a moment about a 7-shot Sharps repeater rifle in the 1870s Old West. It was the ultimate piece of frontier technology and defense, a tool that could save your life. It had a catalog price of about $50. But imagine a common laborer earning about $1.50 a day, needing to buy one. $50 was still a considerable amount of money, requiring months of dedicated labor, but it was a one-time purchase, a finite expenditure. Now consider a pound of sugar or a gallon of kerosene. These were cheap in the East, easily bought for a few cents. But out on the isolated frontier, the continuous cost of buying these items month after month, year after year, represented a financial drain that often outweighed the initial investment in that $50 rifle. The truth about the Old West isn't that gold made men rich. It's that distance and scarcity made everyday necessities extraordinarily expensive. Today, we're uncovering 9 of those common items that became symbols of a fortune, and we'll show you exactly why a simple box of nails could cost a man more than he earned in a week. The cost of civilization. The Old West was an extreme economic environment defined by a single force: logistical constraint. The expansion from the end of the Civil War to the early 20th century, roughly 1865 to the 1910s, saw rapid settlement across a vast continent. But the price of any manufactured or imported good rose in almost direct linear proportion to its distance from major transportation hubs like established railheads or steamboat landings. The massive cost multiplier came from hauling cargo overland by wagon, a method that was exponentially more expensive and risk-intensive than shipping by boat or rail. This meant that prices weren't fixed. They might fluctuate from month to month and from town to town based on factors like the arrival of the last freight wagon, local demand, and the merchant's calculation of risk. To truly understand what a fortune meant, let's look at the baseline of human labor. While Western wages in the 1870s often surpassed those in the East, common labor rates typically ranged from $1 to $1.62 per day. We can use a conservative benchmark of $1.50 a day to measure the true expense of goods not in dollars, but in days of effort. One of the most critical economic principles on the frontier was the freight multiplier. Since the cost of freight was typically assessed by weight and volume, regardless of the item's inherent production cost, cheap and heavy manufactured goods suffered the most extreme relative price inflation. For example, if the freight added $30 to a $10 item, the final price quadrupled. This economic reality meant that the most astronomically inflated prices were often attached to essential, dense, industrial imports, the very things necessary for establishing permanence in the West. These cumulative, inflated costs of daily consumables, which required constant replenishment, often represented a far greater long-term financial drain than the initial capital investments. Over just a few years, the continuous expenditure on these daily necessities and minor manufactured goods could easily exceed the initial cost of a major one-time purchase like a simple 2-room house for $300 or a covered wagon for $65. This persistent tax of civilization, levied through inflated consumables, was the real challenge to wealth accumulation in the remote West. 9 everyday items that broke the bank. 1. Nails, the cost of permanence. Nails were absolutely essential for constructing durable, permanent dwellings and infrastructure. Even the cheapest dwelling, an 8x10 shanty with a dirt floor, cost $25. The immense fortune attached to nails stems from their physical properties. They are among the densest and heaviest of all everyday manufactured goods. Since freight rates penalized weight heavily, the low inherent material cost of a nail quickly became inflated by an enormous transport tariff. Every pound of nails represented a large expenditure in wagon payload capacity that could have been used for higher value, lighter goods. This severe penalty meant settlers were often compelled to conserve and reuse nails or settle for temporary, less structurally sound construction. 2. Tinware and sheet metal goods, the modern kitchen. Metal goods, including kettles, coffee pots, lanterns, and various storage tins, represented a vital leap in hygiene and durability compared to the native equivalents used by indigenous populations. A simple metal lantern alone cost $1 in the 1872 catalog. Tinware was a completely manufactured product, requiring specialized rolling, coating, and forming processes carried out in established Eastern factories. They were bulky and susceptible to damage, like denting, during the brutal overland wagon journeys. Their high perceived value and utility meant that metal kettles and knives quickly became some of the most important manufactured items exchanged in trade with Native American groups. 3. Kerosene, the light of the Western night. Kerosene was crucial for personal illumination, allowing settlers to extend their productivity and educational activities after sunset. The mail-order price for the fuel was relatively low, about 15 cents per gallon. However, the cost escalated rapidly once transport risks were factored in. Kerosene is a flammable liquid requiring specialized, heavy, leak-proof metal storage, cans or barrels, during transport to prevent catastrophic loss. This necessity added a significant indirect logistical cost. In a remote settlement, the cumulative cost of kerosene for a year could easily exceed $10 to $20, meaning a common laborer might spend 1 to 2 full weeks of wages annually just to ensure basic illumination after dark, often forcing light to be strictly rationed. Now, as you sit there, sipping your coffee, if you're enjoying this look into the true costs of frontier life and want to support our effort to dig up more forgotten history, do us a favor and make sure you've hit that subscribe button. We've covered a lot of untold stories on this channel, and a simple tap of that button is the best way to ensure you never miss a thing. 4. Matches, instant fire. Matches represent one of the greatest leaps in convenience technology of the 19th century, offering reliable, instant fire necessary for cooking, warmth, and safety. While nominally inexpensive, often costing just a penny for a book, the true value of matches lay in their profound functional utility. A single box of matches held the potential to save hours of labor required for traditional fire starting with flint and steel. Critically, it could represent the difference between survival and death during a sudden blizzard or crisis on the trail. This is the utility premium. The low material cost belied an enormous life-saving, time-saving, and labor-saving function, elevating matches to a functionally priceless asset in high-risk situations for miners, cowboys, and solitary travelers. 5. Refined sugar, sweet luxury. Refined sugar was a non-essential but highly craved staple, providing calorie density and crucial comfort for frontier settlers. The baseline catalog price was already high, ranging from 7 cents to 10 cents per pound, significantly higher than the 4 cents per pound price of flour. The fortune associated with sugar arose from its specialized origin. It could not be grown locally like grain, and its inelastic, addictive demand. Because it was highly desirable, dense, and easy to transport in stable form, frontier merchants maximized profit extraction. This commodity became a key part of the merchant's profit engine, allowing traders to extract substantial wealth from high-wage workers, particularly those in mining camps, where retail prices could easily skyrocket to 50 cents per pound or higher. 6. Writing paper. The cost of the printed word. The need for paper was indispensable for any semblance of commercial, bureaucratic, or legal organization on the frontier, required for land deeds, commerce, and communication. The homestead filing fee itself was $14. Writing paper, particularly the durable foolscap common in the 19th century, was a complex, high-quality manufactured item. Furthermore, transporting paper involved significant risk. Bales were susceptible to water damage, crushing, and loss. The economic constraint is clear. 120 sheets of foolscap paper cost 90 cents in an 1875 catalog. This cost represented nearly 2/3 of a common laborer's entire daily wage. This prohibitive expense created a substantial barrier to common personal literacy, record-keeping, and widespread correspondence. 7. Coffee, the trail fuel. Coffee was arguably the single most important non-perishable food staple and stimulant for the working populations of the West, cowboys, soldiers, and prospectors alike. It was easily brewed and culturally essential for morale and functionality. The baseline price reflected intense, non-negotiable demand. Coffee consistently priced at 12 cents per pound, 3 times the cost of the staple grain, flour. This high price point represents a cultural necessity tax. Settlers and workers readily prioritized purchasing coffee over other goods with higher caloric value. The combination of high baseline cost and severe frontier markups ensured that coffee consumption consumed a disproportionate amount of a worker's food budget. 8. Ice, the ultimate perishable. Ice provided critical functions on the frontier: food preservation, necessary cooling for medicines, and a symbol of civilized comfort. The fortune attached to ice was purely logistical. In the 1870s, before widespread rail networks and advanced insulation, transporting ice across hundreds of miles of hot territory was nearly impossible due to its extreme fragility and certainty of shrinkage. While later, in 1910, 100 pounds might cost 25 cents to 50 cents, the ability to procure usable ice in a remote 1870s mining town would have demanded massive investment and risk. Ice thus functioned as the ultimate status symbol of preservation, signifying the temporary defeat of nature's decay, an achievement valued far above its material worth. 9. Tobacco, the addiction trade. Tobacco served as a universal comfort, addiction, and social lubricant across every major demographic group on the frontier. Its worth was determined by its unique financial utility. Because it was small, non-perishable, universally desired, and culturally accepted, tobacco frequently acted as a reliable barter item or quasi-currency. Its high desirability ensured acceptance in trade with indigenous groups, and its portability made it excellent for settling small debts in remote mining camps suffering from coin liquidity issues. Therefore, the worth of tobacco was determined by its transactional power, its currency premium, a financial utility that greatly surpassed its simple commodity price. The true cost of civilization. The 9 everyday items we've discussed, nails, tinware, kerosene, matches, refined sugar, writing paper, coffee, ice, and tobacco, were worth a fortune in the Old West, not due to their intrinsic material value, but due to the astronomical logistical costs incurred to bridge the vast American continent. Their inflated prices reveal the precise measure of the financial investment necessary to maintain a semblance of industrial civilization and personal comfort in isolated territories. Ultimately, the high price of everyday goods demonstrates the monumental power and financial commitment required to push the limits of American industrial logistics across a sparsely settled continent. These markups weren't just arbitrary exploitation. They were the unavoidable economic cost of a high-risk logistical investment, compensating freight companies for constant risks of wagon train accidents, theft, environmental loss, and cargo damage. What do you think was the single most difficult financial cost to bear for an average settler? The recurring cost of consumables like kerosene and coffee, or the one-time investment in a rifle or a horse? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. We read the majority of the comments and enjoy hearing your opinions on these historical topics. If you've been enjoying this deep dive, be sure to hit that like button, comment your answer, and subscribe for more untold history of the American frontier. If you liked this video, be sure to check out some more history we've covered in the video in the top left corner.